God, we Ron and Ron signed it this time.
Oh, you did?
On the screen asking the
I'll
question.
send it back or Tuesday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he always forgets. That's okay.
And I know there's a certain group that did not really got not licensed in the house. It's come in for tags. I may have a question for you. I'll check with you Tuesday and see something. And I'm concerned with East District. I went to their district meeting last week and they never get elections. They're trying to do like clean up things that had that before all the rest of stuff happened. And they were gonna do one like in a park. And I don't like their idea of asking. And then the person called me earlier this week and said, we decided here to vote. That's not here. And we decided associated with them. So I'm going to try to talk to conservation. That public area is one, but then two, I'll talk to them on the health warnings and vehicles and stuff. But if we do that, we have to have you or somebody else obviously have something we can put stuff into. If that's okay. So,
Okay.
so I'll talk to you about it later on. Because they want to have their meeting down in a different district in my part.
Tippett doesn't want
Let's see, that's-
security to ask which
Yeah.
business in the
Yeah.
auditor's office. He just
Yeah.
thinks
So a lot of tree
the
stuff
person
we
can
got
just
by
say, I need to go to the auditor's office and you should be allowed
Correct.
it.
So,
Good.
and I'll talk to
Well,
my.
at least that was informative yesterday. That
There was a
part.
Is
lot
that,
of
well, this
stuff.
morning later on, if they would want to join in with that, we haven't had any
May I sit here?
in-person meetings in our district, that's why they're kind of going up some layers.
Yeah, we can talk.
Yeah, interaction, they're trying to talk about things. So I'll talk to you on it, just as a thought.
Okay.
First, we'll probably meet for the public, but if there's not enough examples of what happens. Conservation trails out there.
We
That's-
just, yeah, we just gotta mention up somebody right now, that I gotta see if they, between Shelby and
Like if somebody
this
comes in
group
and
here.
gets your kids, okay. Yeah, and ours will be a little later on.
That's fine, we've been.
When's the other meeting? Sorry.
I didn't know if you started yet or not.
Yeah, Stephen has the Tysons.
I started.
We've been looking for.
Hey, I've seen
Ron, I've got a
those
question
online. I
for
thought
you.
about ordering them
We
to see
have
how they
the-
work.
Okay,
Got them at Tyson.
if we can,
Tyson's gonna have a check.
we can get into the meeting here, please. Ron, I do have a question. We're looking at the Urbana contract. I'm kind of amazed that they still do a contract with this, with their own department. Can you enlighten us?
They don't have a full schedule.
Okay, just kind of fills in some gaps.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yep. Worse in the summertime, of course. Then they
Sure.
don't have many gaps through the winter.
All right. Very good. That was the
We
only
just don't go.
question.
Yeah, please.
I've got one town, we've got a school resource officer in place. We're evaluating their hours to see where it comes out for a quarter, see if they need to adjust.
Sure.
So far, it's going right on.
Good, very good. Good morning, Gary.
I'll make a motion on this and I'll let you read it.
Correct. Yep, I think he should.
Motion for the Urbana law enforcement contract.
I looked at those, they're all on the folder, if you wanna look to see how many's in that bill.
Ooh, white socks. Bad. Bad.
Like what?
White socks.
White short socks, he's got.
Bad.
Oh.
That's okay, that's how my kids dress.
Don't have to be that way. Hey, you're making judgments here. So.
Yeah, Ben's got them on.
It's okay.
I got white socks on.
Second that?
Yeah.
Okay. Motion is by Tracy, seconded by Gary to approve the law enforcement contract for the city of Urbana. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those are the ones that are open versus closed.
The green is open.
like to ask you some questions, if I could, please. So,
You don't have to, I don't need to
I
have it all
don't,
back.
sorry.
That's
I
okay.
don't know what happened to it. So, okay. We've got 9 minutes before our possible closed session. Is there gonna be enough time to discuss reopening of the courthouse with some restrictions?
I would say get started.
Okay.
ISAC shared with us, they've been keeping track with a poll pretty regularly. As you can see, there's not a whole lot left closed. So I do feel it's very important right now because people are getting those tax statements and it's kind of hard to tell them they need an appointment to come pay their taxes right now. And I will point out also, when you see an elderly or somebody with their walker coming all the way up to the door and then they get rejected, I feel that's really bad. So I just feel like we've put all the extra measures in place and spent the money on our protective stuff. I think it's time we think about that.
The only thing I'll state is that's nothing new with the elderly coming up. For 2.5 months, that's been going on.
Right, but then you tell them they have to turn back around because they don't have their
I
stuff.
totally
That's-
get it.
yeah.
I was down there one day when that happened.
Yeah.
And, you know, my heart went out to the guy, but he was from Lynn County. So,
That's the one I saw yesterday.
yeah. So, okay, my personal feeling is we have, as a board, decided that we would wait until September 15th to do anything different. And that at that time that we made that decision, I indicated that I'd like to see a recommendation from the Board of Health, Department of Health, whatever it's called, because I one time misspoke. But I'd like to get their recommendation before we do anything such as reopen. That map will indicate, and I made some notes on that map, that one of the counties that does, and this could be some of the restrictions, Lynn County is one of those counties that is still closed, and they are high on their open cases. And I think we get more Lynn County than Benton County residents, and you ladies would probably be able to tell me that more than anything. That's just a gut feeling. Fairly accurate gut feeling,
Yeah,
you know, with Center Point, for example.
right, Center
being so
Point,
close.
yeah, we get a lot of Black Hawk too, because of LaPorte.
LaPorte. Okay.
Center
Black
Point,
Hawk is open though, so there's nothing to stop them from going to their own courthouse, basically the same distance. So the only thing that would stop them is a line waiting, so. that would-
Better parking in locale in the downtown. That might stop them.
That's true. Yeah, that's very true.
So is Jones County closed?
Jones County is closed.
I didn't look at the map overly.
Got a map right here.
And right now, with us being how we are, well, even when we reopen driver's license is appointment only, because the DOT is appointment only.
Mhm.
We are right now issuing more than Jones County, and they were the ones that used to issue more than we. So we're doing more appointments than they are.
Do you feel that the restrictions that we have for the next 3 weeks is gonna stop people from paying their property taxes?
If some of the elderly people, they just want to come in because they want that receipt. They like to walk out with the paid receipt, and I get that.
They want to write one check for their vehicles and taxes at the same time.
That's been the, people have asked me, can I go pay my taxes, because I want my receipt.
Mhm.
Well, you can make an appointment, so I just can't hand them a check and get a receipt.
And then you've got to think of all the added postage by
I'm-
just turning around mailing all that too.
So in that case, if you wanted to, we could do it on that side. We could have them walk in, but we can only have 2 to 3 people in the office for the social distancing. We have the X's on the floor, and then the rest, as one leaves, and another one could come in. Mark, who's ever at the door, would just have to
They'd have to wait outside.
react.
Security told me that it's a lot more controlled. You don't have people milling around. in
That's why we
the-
wouldn't let anybody wait inside.
Correct.
That's what we wish to avoid, is
Right.
people waiting inside the building.
Right.
Are we talking fall taxes or spring taxes?
For the bill that just went out, that's due
Due now.
September 30th.
If you
And that's
allow
more than
people in to
enough.
pay their taxes and have them wait out in the car, isn't that still an appointment?
Currently, people can come up to the door, and we've allowed this. They get a sign on the door where they can call Lex's office, and, you know, if she is available, doesn't have someone in her office by appointment at that point, she'll let them in to come get their deer license or whatever.
Right, and I get that, but,
Yeah.
and then it turns into a de facto appointment. You didn't have an appointment
Basically.
scheduled, but now I've got the time.
Sure. Yeah. And I don't know if that's something with the treasurer's office. I mean, a couple weeks ago, you said you were,
Yeah, we still have a lot of appointments right now, so we wouldn't be, if we go away from the appointment schedule, we would have to go through next week, because we're booked up through next week, but.
but the point I'm getting is you're still social distancing. Are you really helping much? And I've had numerous phone calls of people wanting us to open the courthouse. You know, so I understand that. And after I explained that, you know, that we don't want to be inundated, for example, with the driver's license department,
Which will, well, you'll be able to control that, so.
As long as you're on appointment only.
right? But I don't know if just opening the courthouse, per se, is going to make it that much smoother if you're only able to take two at a time, and everybody else has to wait outside.
It's still, again, if you do it that way, it's still by appointment.
If
If
they
it's just
call.
the appointment got scheduled a different way, yeah, you're gonna have to wait, and we'll let you know when we have time.
Yeah.
You know?
It's better than turning them away.
Well,
That part's true.
I don't know that.
That's what I'm
If
I don't
not
know.
happy with.
I don't think the elected officials have to turn someone away. They might have to say to them, you know, I mean, are you actually turning people away completely?
Well, it's not the elected officials, though, it's the
Or-
security people.
Or,
So if somebody walks up to the door and wants to get into if somebody walks up the door, period, we can't be hiding or not going to the door. We need to go to the door, say, who are you here to see? And if they say a recorder, let them in.
Mhm.
That's easily fixable, though. All you gotta do is tell them that the security guys are just doing what they've been told to do. If the modification is, someone comes up but they don't have an appointment, and you'll call the elected official in charge of whatever they're there to do, you know, and the elected official or their deputy has time, I don't see what that would hurt. You're still controlling the flow in the building, you're still controlling social distancing. So I'm guessing you're gonna have someone, for instance, it'll happen multiple times, will walk up and will say, I'm here to vote. Well, they're here to vote, they're gonna vote.
And we cannot force them to wear a mask to come in to vote either. We were just told that by the Attorney General and the Secretary of State yesterday.
Now, I'd have to look at that, because I don't know that I agree. We're having a real battle right now in the state over local control. We got all kinds of folks like to say they believe in local control until they wanna try to put your.
Well, they
their
cannot
will
drop a
on
ballot out there in
business.
the drop box either. So, and they can't hand anybody other than my office a ballot when they come back. So they have to come in and physically deliver it to my office.
You can't have a Dropbox?
Nope.
Whose rule is that?
The Attorney General and the Secretary of State.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's the Secretary of State's rule.
I just sat through a webinar, Dave, and I'm gonna run it that way. I'm gonna listen to them, so.
Well, neither here nor there.
That's fine, but what the
Yeah,
question was.
I think the whole issue there was a mask, you know, whether or not it would be required to wear a mask. So, went to the bank yesterday, and out in their lobby is a end table, or whatever you want to call it, with a pile of masks. Thou shalt wear a mask, go inside. So, and also there's hand sanitizer, some of the rankest stuff I've ever smelled, but, you know.
We got some free from Anheuser-Busch coming.
So, but that's, it's a requirement. You don't go in that bank unless you've got it.
Well,
They will not do business with you.
Today's Friday.
Right.
We could get some input from county nurse and discuss this
Well,
next
Tracy's
week.
been trying to ask for more.
I think you've got quite a bit of input from Mark Greenley, your director of health for this building for the county. You know, you got a pretty lengthy email from him, he's copied me on it. I think his concern is he's been doing it for 44 years are pretty valid.
Did you see it, Gary?
It's not a short email. He's got as much experience as that public health nurse, if not more.
My feelings is how long we're gonna have to do this.
I think you do it till it's prudent not to do it.
And when it's a point.
A year, 2 years,
I'm not-
5 years?
I don't know, I'm hoping it's gonna end soon.
I think that,
But if it's gonna be a year, do you say, you know what, I don't like the thought, we might have to do this for a year, so, you know what, forget what we're doing.
I think we need to, above all, protect our employees. Do our part in protecting the citizens, at least when they're in our building. Whether they want to leave and go do whatever they're doing, that's everybody's choice. We need to maintain the no lines in the building. That's where we're gonna run into an issue. From my contact with public health is we get people standing around and that's what we're.
I think if we put no loitering signs, but if you look at how much money we've already spent on our protective face shields, our I mean, we've spent that big money on that fogger that we're supposed to do daily. I think we're doing as much as we can to protect our employees.
I don't want to get away from that. I don't want to get away from the screening when you come in the door. But I think if people want to come in and pay their taxes, they come up, knock on the door and say, I'm here to pay my taxes. Take your temperature, ask some questions, pay your taxes, have a nice day.
If Melissa says she's got room,
If she's got
and
room.
if they have to
And
go to an
Melinda.
office, they're gonna have to wait a little bit.
Yes, they may have to wait.
Yes.
The wait will be
And
outside.
I'm
Yeah.
fine if we don't, I mean, if we don't schedule appointments and they just come to the door and wanna come in, you know, as long as there's room. Cause if we're not gonna take appointments for taxes, they're gonna not wanna come in, we might as well go for the other stuff too, other than driver's license.
But the other stuff's where we need to maintain.
Okay.
I feel.
Yeah.
I'm trying to run your office. You've got your X's up the floor, we've got so many ladies, we can't go past that.
And it's your,
need to maintain
it's your
our safety.
decision, but I would hope that you would keep it for the driver's license and still implement Benton County.
I could see that going indefinitely until there's something there. I am concerned, of course, everybody is tired of the media and all this. Who knows what is gonna take place in the election, but I think they're looking for a way to complain about how election stuff is handled because of this. And I think it would be to our benefit. I don't like the idea personally. I don't like the idea of if somebody comes to the door and they say, we're here to see the auditor, okay. I don't want to ask them if they're here to vote. I don't think that's something we should be involved in because that might be somebody's in to complain. I had to tell them why I was there. I'm here to see the auditor, have a nice day.
And then we'll have to look
Go
into
through
the
health
future.
screening, of course, just like everybody else, and send them on their way.
And if I don't combine precincts, this will be a precinct on election day as well.
Oh, we got to find precincts.
I don't know that I mean, they're changing stuff
But
daily
that's-
on us, so.
That's down the road,
Yeah.
you know, so
Quickly down the road.
obviously September 15th is coming
And
before that.
for the recorder's office, it's been my experience, when I worked the door, the treasurer's office is by far the busiest. When I walked in this morning, there was a lady there that wanted to do something in the car and didn't have an appointment. And the appointment, I'll get you right in. Same thing with the recorder's office, if somebody comes, and I'm sure there's groups of people that's where they've always got their hunting tags and whatever, but if her office is busy, they'll have to wait. But as soon as there's an opening, run them through the screening, let them in.
Okay, we need to get this taken care of.
That sound good to you, Lex?
Yes, I would like, yeah, if the security will check, if somebody walks up the door and wants to come in and let them in, that would be awesome.
The only thing's a little bit, my personal opinion, a drag is that then they'll either have to contact you to see if you got room, you know what I mean?
Well,
That's currently down there.
Not really, because they can kind of see.
Okay.
And I've got 2 X's on my floor and
Okay.
a line at my door,
And
and so.
that's currently what she's doing with the phone number on the door.
Okay.
Those people that come up, all they have to do is make a phone call.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I see no problem with that, with the treasurer's office.
So what I'll do is we'll still be going to vehicle appointments like we were, and if they come to the door and want, absolutely need to come in for taxes and mark, somebody, different rows and I, somebody.
So we need to put something on the door as well. Okay.
I really feel it's in our best interest, and this is from talking to the county health people. It's in our best interest to maintain our no loitering in the rotunda areas and no lines within our building.
And if you, this is through September 15th, basically is what we've got for a full
That
time frame. If you could get an answer from them or have them
I'll see
here.
if I can have her come.
Okay, thank you. All right, are we good? We need to move on. We missed a time item on our.
So I will say the security guys do have a cordless phone down there. They can call office extensions through too, so.
They can, yeah.
Ooh, the extensions work on that one.
Yeah,
Yep.
it has the whole time.
I just don't know how to run it, to be honest with you. Technologically remedial.
All right, it's best
You
if,
need a phone 101.
it's best if the individuals could use their own phone, you know, because now you got security trying to make appointments for somebody, I think, and then you get.
Well, I'm
other
just saying
people
if someone's at the door, rather than running over to Lex's office and say, hey, there's someone here for you, they can pick up
Totally
the phone and call her extension and say,
Totally
hey.
understand.
That's why I brought it up. I mean, they have a working phone. Every office can call them if they enter it.
Or if
They
it's
can
an
call other
elderly
offices.
person who doesn't have a cell phone.
Sometimes they don't, that is correct.
Right, and we tell people, don't bring hardly anything to come.
Yeah.
You know,
Leave your phone in the
you never bring
vehicle.
anything, yeah, and so they get up the door and then they don't have a phone, so that's
All right.
happened
They're
too.
being told to do that.
Yeah.
All right.
I got a question though, are you guys still gonna give a schedule for the folks who do have appointments, the security guys, so they kind of know what to expect?
Yeah, well,
And are we gonna
if
not?
they keep it and don't throw it away in the middle of the afternoon, that happened to me. So I thought,
you know,
well, why
they've
provide
got some
lists?
complaints about how you're doing stuff too, okay?
Well,
Really?
They do, and they're not here because they're up at their posts.
Well, I'd like to hear about that.
Well, why don't you go talk to them, they're not shy.
we need to,
Can I ask a question?
Of
So
course.
the policy is essentially the same with a slight modification that the sheriff will share with the security guys.
from what I can see, yes.
Good enough.
I'll put a note on the door for taxes.
Okay.
No problem.
And
Very
I already
good.
had him put his vinyl, he's gonna put vinyl on there, no ballots to be dropped. And no blanks.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Let's walk out there, clear the. I'd still like to get rid of these chairs. I'd like to get rid of these chairs.
Okay, the time is 9:24. We're a scotch behind. Is there a motion?
Do we need to go in closed session
Do
or?
we need to go into closed session?
You absolutely need to go into closed session, or I'm not conducting this meeting.
Okay, well, let's get a motion to go into closed session, please.
Motion.
Okay. All right, Tracy.
Pretend you